and they also I've heard them say, well, you're better off doing, if you get distracted, you're better off doing shorter sessions and not spending an hour distracted. But that's why I'm saying add a minute a week and just stick to that. Don't try to push yourself past that, because if you add a minute a week, it's like you're building your muscles. You're building your muscles, because they are muscles. They're mental muscles. Because if you're gonna like meet God directly in this lifetime, or if you're gonna see your mind directly, like you're gonna have to be able to be hovering at a certain place long enough to drop in, because you can't make the choice. Like you notice that we've been doing a lot of meditations lately where it raises particularly befuddling questions, like who am I, and which one of the voices in my head is the real me, things like that. And you start getting to developing the witness and the watcher, but who's watching the watcher? How far back are you going to go? It's a freaking hall of mirrors when you start doing that. There's always like one more back, one more back, one more back. And there's something about giving yourself the time to struggle with that. You see, it's nothing that can really be taught directly or in a book in a way, because everyone will have a different way of falling into the depths of their deepest mind, which ultimately means you're going to fall away from the mind. So you're going to lose the mind. And when I mean the small mind, the ego mind, you're going to actually fall away from that. So how are you going to get to a place where you're in meditation and you developed enough stillness or enough conscious awareness that can remain and float in one place? How are you going to get there and then be asking these questions in your mind, like, who's thinking this? Who's doing this meditation? And you'll notice that there will be thoughts that will come, and there'll be all kinds of opinions about that. And none of those voices are what you ultimately are. It stands to logic, because if they were, you couldn't hear them. Like how, the Buddhist, how can a knife cut itself? Like how can actually your awareness actually see your awareness? It can't. That's why when you have the ultimate, when you actually lose yourself to the divine totally, for a brief period of time, when you're reborn, it's a blackout. It's a total loss of consciousness. There is no way that you can see. But when your mind is called back, when you come back into reality, and subject and object reassert itself, you're aware that something is different. You're aware that you've gone to the deepest recesses of your mind, and you are now a different being. You are now walking on the earth, a completely different being than 5 minutes ago. And you can't, no one can, actually choose for that moment to happen. No one can sit there and go, okay, I'm going to see emptiness directly. I want to see God directly. This is what's going to happen. It's never going to work. It has to be placing yourself at the door over and over and over. I read in one book a great way of saying it. It's like an accident. When it happens, it's like an accident. But what you want to do is make yourself accident prone, because you can't choose that. So these meditations that we've been doing, where we've been trying to watch, develop the seat of the witness, there's always going to be a slight contradiction in your mind. We're like, well, but I'm aware of the watcher. So how are you going to be there struggling and then just fall? It's a fall, it's a death. It's the end of a certain kind of mind. Fall into this space of actually being aware. And that your subject and object reality has shifted so that you don't actually experience a separation between you and the other objects the way that you did before. Because you're experiencing it as a unified experience. And so you've emptied yourself of yourself to such a degree that you're filled completely with like God, divinity, like life, whatever you want to call it. But that becomes the unending fountain of energy that is everywhere and underneath everything, and actually what you are. You know, why are most of us blind to that? That's a whole other question. And that's our desire. All of our movements in life, like that heart connection you were talking about, Yasmin. You know, why even bring it up? You know, like why? You know, wow. You know, I meditated for 8 hours solid, and then the next day I have had this beautiful heart-to-heart connection with somebody that I probably wouldn't have had the day before. This is significant to us. Like, who cares? Why would you even notice that? It's significant to us because we desire, our innermost desire is pulling us towards that, but often it's misdirected into transient things like, well, lots of sugar. Lots of sugar and you know, all kinds of things, right? And that unification, the answer to is actually within us. It's actually within us. We're never going to get that from anything else. No matter how like beautiful our partner is, she or he can never give us that. But we can join them there. You see, we can join them there if we reach it. And the kind of like crazy thing is, we can reach it, and the other person may not have reached it, and we can still join them there, because it's your heart. It's your heart, and your heart is open, or it's closed, or it's in between, and it's all about that. It's all about that. You know, I think that's a big reason why, you know, when you hear about great acts of kindness, it just can slay you. You hear about somebody sacrificing something to do an act of kindness for someone else, and it can move you to tears. Because why did they do that? Well, their heart moved. Their heart moved them. And there's a difference between the heart moving and the mental aspect moving. So that voice that's always in your head, talking and making all kinds of commentaries about what's happening, that voice is not like a demon or bad. It's just a lot of times not connected to the heart one. It's just running along on its own like a wild little puppy. But you know, you've all had that experience when something happens and you have a feeling, oh, I'm going to do that, and you know you're going to do that, that will be connected to a voice possibly, but it's a feeling. It's a knowing that then can have a voice, but the voice doesn't come first. The voice is way the hell out here somewhere, and the feeling or the knowing is deep inside, and it comes out. I was just talking to someone today who's like wanted to do a certain thing, and they were all hemming and hawing about it. So that doesn't sound right for me. It sounds too hard. Sounds like pain. And then I pretty much decided that they weren't going to do it. But then something happened in the heart, and oh, I'm doing it. I guess I am doing it. And beyond question. There's no debate about it. That is the voice of the heart. And the heart doesn't have a verbal voice. The heart has a feeling voice that will go and then use a word. Maybe. Anyway. Let's meditate. So begin in the usual fashion, settling into your body. Feeling from the waist down specifically, like it's rooted naturally and easily. Just a falling into the earth. So you use that, pay attention to that with your mind, and feeling gravity meet your body. Hold it. Holding it in place. Belly is soft and relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed. Heart is lifted, slightly open. Crown of the head drawn towards the sky. Jaw relaxed. Now beginning to notice the rise and fall of the breath at the belly, the relaxed belly. noticing any mental thought, any thought that's saying it should be different, or I should have more even breath, or my breath should be this way or that way. Just allow your body to naturally relax into where it needs to be. So, and that helps by allowing the breath to find its rhythm for the moment. So you really are a witness to the breath at this moment. You're not trying to change it at all. It may even tell you something that you need to know. Drawing the awareness a little higher and more expansive, and then you've got your whole chest and belly breathing. So feel the chest area, the back of the shoulders, and belly all expanding and contracting with the breath. Again, you're the witness. To get even more mileage out of this time, notice mental images that are attached to the physical feelings. Like it could be a picture of your body, or it could be a thought. This is my shoulders moving, or something. Try and get rid of that. You can just toss it out on the next exhale. And on the next inhale, reapply the focus to the feeling, just the feeling. Thoughts and mental pictures about it will take you into the past. Then shift your awareness to your whole body. So where does your focus need to be? Where does your relaxed focus need to be in order to have a sense of your entire body actually undulating with the breath? Can you notice the hands or the toes actually moving rhythmically with the cycle of the breath? You are the silent witness to the miracle process of life happening right in this moment in your body. You don't need to do anything. You can do this kind of meditation if you're getting sleepy. You can do this kind of meditation with your eyes slightly open, which will let some light in. And sometimes, we get tired. Now let's move the focus so that we then start to fine-tune to the tips of the nostrils. Again, you're the witness, not the controller. Noticing, finally tuning your awareness so that you notice the subtle physical sensations of breath passing the nostrils. You may even notice a sensation at the upper lip. Shifting once again to the Ajna chakra, the third eye. Point between the eyebrows and back into the center of the head. If it helps, you can think of a tiny drop of white light or clear light, diamond quality light. Very, very small, but the size of the head of a pin, radiating there, very bright. Try and see if you can shift from feeling like you're looking at this point of light, but to making this shift into looking out from this point of light. So your eyes are closed, and then you're shifting your center of awareness to this point, as if with your mind's eye you're actually perceiving all of your reality from this point outwards in a sphere-like fashion, above, below, all around you and behind you at once, from this point. So this will possibly help get a sense of where the center is. And so you're seated in the center of the head, looking outward in all directions at once with this light. Now move that forward so that this seat of awareness or consciousness or viewpoint, say, moves forward so that it's starting to push up against your face. And you're looking out from that point. And just notice how that feels. And then draw it back again into the center. Notice how that feels in comparison. Now let's move back. So now you're going to take that seat and move it back towards the back of your head. And just notice how that feels. In your body, in the mind, how does it feel? And now allow it to come back, bounce back maybe into the center point. Relax in the center point. And now let's move up. So you're now taking the center point of awareness and actually drawing up as if you're like going to bump up against your skull. Drawing it up, and notice how that feels. Maybe you can even think of situations where you might do that. It might, push you, sort of you're kind of wanting to leave or something. You go up. And let it come back down to the center again. And then let's drop it down now. So it's like you're moving this awareness down to like the bottom of the jaw. Notice how that feels. And then let it spring back to the center. Try and get a feel for that place. Before we go to the next focus, just check in that you're relaxed. Make sure that your eyebrows aren't furrowed and shoulders are relaxed and jaw is relaxed. You always want to release any mounting tension. Very important. Now we're going to take that seat of awareness and we're actually going to draw it down and travel right down to the area of the heart. So now this may be very different. So you're moving down to the heart chakra. And this will be close to the back body. The root of the chakra is close to the back body. So it may feel like you're sinking back or needing to let go of the reins even more, like you're going to get into the back seat of the car. So you'll notice that there's a different kind of a sight here. When you're centered up at the ajna, there's a connection, a mental connection with eyeballs, with vision, with the physicality of seeing. Now that we've dropped down to the heart, and you're looking out, perceiving from the heart. It has a whole different quality. And again, seeing from the heart in a sphere-like fashion. So all around you, underneath, above. So this can be confusing or not. But you may notice it's more of a feeling than a seeing. But it is a kind of a sight. It's a kind of a perception. So the next stage, we're going to combine both of those chakras. So, imagine that the world you live in was in darkness. There was no light. And that from this place at the heart shone forth a light. And this light went out in all directions. And this light from the heart is what lit up the world that you see. And the Ajna was looking at what the heart was lighting up. Almost like the heart is a spotlight. The heart is a spotlight, and the Ajna is looking at what the spotlight is lighting up. Try not to get your, try not to let your mental chatter get in the way or try to decide anything about this. This will be a unique and individual experience for each person, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. So before we release the meditation, just with your mind's eye and your heart's eye, see yourself connecting to each person in the room. So you can go one by one or all at once, depending on how you feel right now. But you recall each person that you saw as we came in the room, and that they're all sitting, you know where they're sitting. It's shine a light on them from your heart and look at them with your third eye. So you're perceiving them in this heart light. And with each individual, if you respectfully, so you could even in your mind bow down to them in your mind and give them a very, very deep and sacred hello to their, to what they are. Do you know how many lifetimes this being has lived? All that they've experienced? Even just this one lifetime is worthy of bowing down to. Just getting through each day, attempting to reach some kind of sublime love in this life is worth bowing down to. So you see that, respect that in each person. And then once you've done each person individually, do it all at once, like connected like a web of light from your heart that's going out and connecting each person. And so you're seen from both places. And then just return to a resting state where you haven't turned this light off in your heart or anything like that. You're just more in a resting state with it, a very relaxed state with it. And the center of the head, it could be your like seat of sight, your centered perception. in your heart, your sight of feeling, relaxed in that state. And slowly release it as a quote-unquote meditation, but just slowly release it and opening your eyes, taking your time gently. And then we'll take a little break. So Toda's been at the smorgasbord there. There might be some food left. I'm not really sure. Just watch your head just go back and forth. Back and forth. She's usually there now. So yeah, let's stretch our legs out and have a little break, and we'll return after